Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Do let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes, Rohit.
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा महिं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगणरघुनतान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारणे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्त। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Reading from Prabhupada-līlāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 45. Please distribute books. San Francisco, July 5th, 1970. Srila Prabhupada was attending the 1970 Rath Yatra in San Francisco. The day was cold and windy, and about 10,000 people had joined in Lord Jagannath's procession through Golden Gate Park. Srila Prabhupada had danced in the street with thousands of participants during the parade, addressed a large crowd in an auditorium by the beach, and looked on as his disciples had distributed a free vegetarian prasadam feast to thousands. But when a devotee arrived with a half dozen advance copies of Volume 1 of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada appeared especially pleased. Surrounded by devotees and curious festival goers, Srila Prabhupada held one of the books, admiring the front cover with its full color picture of Radha and Krishna. The volume was big, almost 7.5 by 10.5 inch, and its dust jacket shone silver with large, bright red letters Krishna. It was a transcendental wonder in Srila Prabhupada's reverent hands. Onlooking could barely restrain themselves from pressing in against Srila Prabhupada to peer over his shoulders, and they didn't restrain their exclamations when Prabhupada smiled and opened the volume. He examined the illustrations, the print, the paper, and the binding. Very nice, he said. He fixed his attention on a page reading. Then he looked up and announced that this greatly valuable book, Krishna, had just arrived and that everyone should read it. Holding one book in his hand with the other copy stacked before him, he said that anyone who so desired should come forward and buy a copy. People began clamoring, and hands with $10 bills thrust forward, while voices cried out, begging for a copy. And Prabhupada promptly sold every book, not even keeping one for himself. For the devotees, Srila Prabhupada's selling of Krishna book was the most spectacular event of Rath Yatra festival. They poured over the purchased books in groups, discussing Krishna's pastimes and the effect they would have on the people of America. Brahmananda told now how in 1967 Prabhupada had given away his advance copy of teachings of Lord Chaitanya in his room at 22nd 26th Second Avenue in New York City. Just before that book had arrived, Srila Prabhupada had been sitting and talking with Satyavrata, a disciple who had previously stopped coming to temple due to petty quarreling with his godbrothers. When the copy of teachings of Lord Chaitanya had arrived, Srila Prabhupada had lovingly inspected it and then offered it to Satyavrata as a gift. Brahmananda had been astounded to see Srila Prabhupada give away his only copy of the book. Having helped publish the book, Brahmananda knew how painstakingly Prabhupada had written it and how he had anxiously waited 1 year for the book to finally see print. Yet, once it had arrived, he had immediately given it away, and to a disciple who was not even in good standing. Satyavrata had taken the book, thanked Srila Prabhupada, and left, never to be seen again. Although Srila Prabhupada wanted his disciples to be as eager to distribute Krishna conscious literature as he was, none of them knew how to do it. Distributing a magazine and asking for a small donation was one thing, but a um, big hard-bound book. When the entire shipment of teachings of Lord Chaitanya had arrived in New York in April of 1967, the devotees had hired a truck, picked up the books at the dock, and unloaded them at 22nd Avenue. They had then shipped them to ISKCON centers in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Boston, Montreal, and elsewhere, and there they remain. Some devotees had tried placing ads in magazines and leaving books in bookstores on consignment, but the books didn't sell. How to sell these big, hardbound books remained a mystery until someone significantly happened an accidental discovery. One day in 1971, while driving back to the temple after chanting in downtown San Francisco, two brahmacharis stopped at a local service station for gas. When the attendant came to the window for money, one of the devotees showed him a Krishna book. The attendant seemed interested, and the two devotees began preaching the glories of Krishna consciousness. When they suggested he take the book as payment for the gas, he agreed. Astonished at what happened and inspired at their success, the two brahmacharis went the next day with several Krishna books and stood in front of a grocery store. And again it happened. This time they sold two books. Keshava, the San Francisco Temple president, phoned his GBC supervisor and brother Karandara in Los Angeles to tell him what had happened. It's like a miracle, Keshava explained. Karandar encouraged him to experiment further, and soon the San Francisco Temple dozen, uh, uh, had half a dozen men going from door to door showing the books to people in their homes. When Buddhimanta began selling as many as 5 books in a day, the devotees in other temples, especially Los Angeles, San Diego, and Denver, wanted to follow his example, and whoever tried it and sold a book became caught up in an euphoric excitement. The experience and testimony of the devotees selling Srila Prabhupada's books describe a special taste, uh, distinct from happiness young men might ordinarily experience by stumbling upon a sales technique and finding themselves on the verge of making a lot of money. The difference is that the devotee's book distribution, being devotional service to Krishna, produces an ecstasy that is transcendental, an ecstasy far beyond even the greatest material happiness. Ordinary business and the business of selling Krishna consciousness literature are as different as material life from spiritual life. And anyone observed spiritual life from the material point of view will not understand it. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has compared such empirical attempts to understand the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness with attempt to taste honey by licking the outside of the bottle. The young men and women beginning to distribute books in America knew that Srila Prabhupada, by giving them Krishna consciousness, have saved them from hellish life, and they wanted to help him and give Krishna consciousness to others. And such preaching by distributing his books was ecstasy, spiritual ecstasy. By mid 1971, the temples were selling hundreds of Krishna books a week. Karandar Prabhupada's book and fund book fund manager began sending Sankirtan newsletters to the North America and temples and to Srila Prabhupada. By listing the monthly results of each temple's book distribution, the newsletters incited competition. Karandra's December 1971 newsletter summed up the mood of the year and urged the devotees to increase recently. In an all-out program to sell books, the San Francisco Temple has been averaging 20 Krishna books per day distribution. What is their technique? Keshav Prabhu said, simply we make it our priority activity. All you have to do is want to do and then try as hard as you can. Everywhere we go, we carry GTBs and Krishna books, he says. On street, escapee, door to door, to the laundromat, and to the store, everywhere. He, we have been taxing our brains in so many fancy and complicated ways to try to increase sales, but as it has been experienced, nothing is more successful than simply taking the books personally in the hand and going going door to door with this causeless mercy. Just consider how many hours a day do we spend specifically trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada's literature, which is the dearest thing to him. The crowning touch to the end of the year Sankirtan, however, came not from the newsletter but from Prabhupada himself, who wrote to Keshava, the king of Krishna book distribution. I have been receiving so many reports about how my disciples from San Francisco Temple cannot be surpassed by anyone in distribution, in distributing my books. Sometimes they are selling as many as 70 Krishna books daily. So if this is true, then certainly when I return to the US, I must come and stay in the your temple. By distributing my books profusely, you are giving me great encouragement to translate, and you are all helping me to fulfill the order which Guru Maharaj gave me. So I am so much grateful to you, and I am sure Krishna will bless you a million times over for doing this work. I hope that you and all my beloved disciples in San Francisco are in strong health and jolly mood. Copies of this letter went out to every ISKCON center. Prabhupada had always given his blessings to all the devotees, but never before could anyone recall his saying a devotee would get Krishna's blessings a million times over. Although a letter from Prabhupada usually instructed a specific devotee, the instruction often had universal application, and Srila Prabhupada's letters made clear his disciples' top priority book distribution. I am very pleased to hear that you are increasing in your in your distribution of our books and magazines. That is a good sign that you are preaching work is also strong. The more you increase your strength in preaching, the more you will go on selling books. I want especially that my books be distributed here. Um, I want especially that my books be distributed widely. Sri Prabhupada's ambition was to um, did I miss something? Okay. I'm very pleased to hear that you are interested increasing in your book distribution for magazines and books. This is a good sign that your preaching work is also strong. The more you increase your strength in preaching, the more you will go on selling books. I want especially that my books be distributed widely. Prabhupada's ambition was to replace mundane literature with transcendental literature. At least in every home, there should be one piece of Krishna conscious literature. He reasoned because if a person read only one page, his life could be turned toward perfection. If 1% of readers become devotees, he wrote that will change the world. Whereas mail order advertisers were satisfied with a 5% response, the Prabhupada spoke of an even smaller percentage, 1%, whom he thought could become pure devotees in response to receiving money. Lord Krishna also confirms that this in Bhagavad Gita. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. To make the whole world Krishna consciousness, therefore, would require that millions of pieces of transcendental literature be distributed. Srila Prabhupada wanted his disciples to understand why they should distribute his books, and he instructed them through his letter. Who God is can be summed up in 5 words, in only 5 words. Krishna is the supreme controller. If you have become convinced of this and preach it enthusiastically, success is assured, and you will be doing the greatest service for all living entities. He wrote to Jayadvaita. These books and magazines are our most important propaganda weapons to defeat the ignorance of Maya's army, and the more we produce such literature and sell them profusely all over the world, the more we shall deliver from the suicide course. The more we shall deliver the world from the suicide case. Sorry, course. Sorry. To Jagadisha, he wrote, I am encouraged to see your report of books sold because it proves that you consider it your responsibility to see that more and more people are reading our literature. Actually, this is the solid basis for our preaching work. No other movement has gone such profuse authority for preaching, and if anyone reads our Krishna conscious philosophy, he becomes convinced. Prabhupada continued. Mm, yeah. Prabhupada continued to insist that all major Krishna conscious programs be maintained, including deity worship, chanting Hare Krishna in public, and holding outside lectures. All programs were important, but book distribution, wherever possible, should the world. Sorry, accompany the other programs. To a sannyasi whose main program was public lecturing, Prabhupada wrote, distribute books as many as possible. If anyone hears some philosophy from us, that will help him. But if he purchases one book, that may turn his life. So selling books is the largest preaching activity. Sell books, hold the kirtan in public places like schools and colleges, etc. College reach. I'm sorry. And in a letter to Bhagavan Das in France, he stressed the same thing. What will your 3 minutes preaching do? But if they buy one book, it may turn their life. During this period of increasing book distribution, one of Srila Prabhupada's newly initiated sannyasi concocted the idea that the devotees should spend much more time studying. While visiting the New York temple, the sannyasi openly advocated that devotees reading Srila Prabhupada's book 5 to 8 hours daily. The temple was following a new schedule Srila Prabhupada had set up with devotees attending the morning program, going out all day from the for street chanting and book distribution, uh, and returning in the evening for a class on Bhagavad Gita. But now controversy arose, and an urgent phone call was placed to Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles. When Prabhupada heard the details from his secretary, he immediately responded. My reply is that this Sankirtan or street chanting must go on. It is our most important program. Lord Chaitanya movement means Sankirtan movement. You may simply take 2 hours of chanting 16 rounds daily, 2 hours for reading congregationally, and balance of time go out for Sankirtan. We must do we must do both, reading books and distributing books. But distributing books is the main propaganda. Reading in class for 2 hours is sufficient, and other reading can be done in spare time if one has got it. It is not that one has to be always reading. 1 hour a morning for Bhagavad Gita and 1 hour evening evening Bhagavad Gita or nectar of devotion that is that is sufficient. January 1972. You should always think of new outlets for distributing my books. Srila Prabhupada wrote to Jagadish, and new outlets. The devotees found shopping centers, malls, parking lots. They were meeting more people than ever before. By entering the mall and shopping centers, the devotees plunged into the heart of the American society, meeting buyers and empires, rich and poor, black and white. Book selling was still difficult, but the devotees uh, uh, book selling was still difficult, but the devotees persevered, carrying their heavy body bags, body book bags, and distributing the literature they knew could solve all problems. The devotees saw the shoppers as so many walking victims of the material energy, people living for sensual and mental pleasure, and therefore doomed to an inauspicious death. Any serious devotee could philosophically explain from Bhagavad Gita the predis- predicament of the materialist. But now they were directly witnessing this plight, and by Prabhupada's mercy, they were working hard, not working but working hard to deliver the missing essence of transcendental knowledge to the bewildered souls. Then came the discovery of uh, to town to sell books. Some of the brahmacharis in Los Angeles had been feeling that by staying in the temple they were wasting time they could be using for book distribution. So they loaded a van with Krishna books and went to areas where they could camp for a week, live a simpler life, and distribute books many hours a day as they liked. This traveling Sankirtan produced another significant increase by creating an environment within the men could become fully absorbed in their work. The new program spread quickly throughout the ISKCON world and Srila Prabhupada liked it. I am very glad to hear from you the wonderful news of traveling party in UK, England. I think the people of that place are becoming more and more inclined for this Krishna consciousness movement. They are living, they are inviting you to stay at their houses. They are taking books by becoming sometimes devotees. All of them are very encouraging signs to me. Simply go on in this way, stopping in every village and city in England, Scotland, or if there are other places. Yeah, like Ireland.
Maybe can
Uh,
any of us read, because I feel you are feeling difficult to read. Maybe it's
yeah, did I miss something again?
no, not missing, but yeah, I don't know. You're reading in the phone or something. You are feeling difficult. No? That's why I'm just
No,
suggesting.
no, the room light is off
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
screen light is come flashing into the eyes.
yeah, yeah. Maybe.
But anyway, I'll read only for 10 minutes and then we'll see. They're inviting you to stay there at their houses. They are taking books, becoming sometimes devotees. All of these are very encouraging signs to me. Simply go on in this way, stopping in every village and city in England, Scotland, or if there are other places like Ireland. Simply stop for some time, distribute books, and hold Sankirtan procession, answer their questions, give some leaflets or small informations freely, distribute prasadam wherever possible, at least some small thing. And if there is some genuine interest being shown, then request the townspeople to arrange some engagement for speaking in their schools or in someone's home or a hall like that. In this way, remain always without anxiety for distribution and comfortable situations, always relying only on the mercy of Krishna for your plan. Just go on preaching this his message and selling his books wherever there is interest. We should not waste time. If there is no interest or if people are unfriendly, there are so many places to go. Srila Prabhupada began saying that opening new centers was less important now that the traveling parties were combing the country. When he heard that the temple president in Vancouver had acquired a bus for traveling, he wrote, I think we are becoming like a gigantic guerrilla warfare movement fighting with Maya. This traveling in buses is the best means to drive away Maya and establish Krishna consciousness all over the world. Prabhupada was glad to hear that temple presidents and zonal leaders were also going out with the traveling Sankirtan parties. The Vedic concept of commander, he said, is that he must fight in front lines, not sit behind the scenes, sheltered. Having already witnessed how some of his leading disciples had become bogged down by managing many things, he advised them all to travel and preach, distributing literature wherever they went. Practically, this ISKCON organization is there because I have been always traveling. I never sat down in my old age. No. So you follow my example and preach widely all over the world. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's version. When a devotee in California wrote Srila Prabhupada for permission to give up married life and go on traveling Sankirtan, Prabhupada replied that to give up family life was not necessary. Lord Chaitanya had taught that being a sannyasi or a grihastha did not matter as long as one fully served Krishna. A householder could also sometimes travel and distribute books with or without his wife. Near the end of 1972, the BBT newsletter, now compiled by Karandara's assistant Rameshwara, reported the ever increasing results of book distribution. Book distribution continues soaring to all-time highs as more than 25 traveling escapee parties, Sankirtan parties, roam the countryside, affecting the lives of hundreds of thousands of conditioned souls. Since mid-September, they have distributed over 15,000 complete Krishna trilogy sets, and since mid-August, we have distributed over 9,000 soft Bhagavad Gitas and over 950 hard Bhagavad Gitas. Macmillan too has uh, completely sold out. 20,000 Gitas sold commercially and is reprinting large quantities for the Christmas rush. Another breakthrough for book distribution came at the end of 1972. The previous year, devotees had taken advantage of the Christmas season by selling the Krishna book door to door, but no one had been aware just how significant the Christmas season could actually be. Rameshwar. It was on December 22, 1972, that we accidentally discovered the Christmas marathon in Los Angeles. Of course, we noticed a great increase in the number of people going into the stores, and the stores were staying open sometimes until midnight. I was standing in front of Bulban Zodis. We were having an intense competition with prices in Los Angeles, and it was building up to a feverish pitch. So, after distributing madly all day long, I had collected about $350 and had distributed 650 magazines. It was about 10 o'clock at night. I was convinced that this was a new world's record in ISKCON, that nobody was possibly going to beat me this day. Even though the store was open until 12, business had started slowing off, and I was thinking maybe I should go back. Undoubtedly, everyone is back already. No one has ever stayed out past 8 o'clock. They'll all be waiting up for me. I shouldn't keep them waiting up. So, in this way, my mind was convincing me to go back. By 11 o'clock, the store was completely dead. I got in the car and started driving back. On the way back, I passed another Zodis called Hollywood stories on Sunset and Western. I was I was torn whether to stop or not because that store was crowded and was going to be okay. Sorry, going to be open until midnight. But I decided no, I'll go back because the other devotees will be waiting up to see how many books I distributed. So I just kept driving. I finally arrived at the temple at about 10 minutes to 12 and I burst into the Sankirtan room. But the only person there was the secretary, Madhukanta. I said, "Oh, no, everyone went to bed." He said, "No, nobody is back yet." I was the fine I was the first one back. That was the discovery of the first Christmas marathon. It was completely unplanned. No one had ever instructed anyone to stay out that late. We just did it spontaneously. Finally, at about 1:30 in the morning, all the devotees had returned and we were all uh, sitting around looking at the Sankirtan map. We couldn't sleep. We were so excited to go out. We were thinking, where can we find plenty of conditioned souls to distribute books to? Our noise and raucous laughter was like a drunken party, and it woke up Karandar and it woke up Karandar, who was sleeping in his office in the next room. He came stumbling in, wiping the sleep from his eyes, but when he saw us and saw what was going on, he burst out laughing and sent us all to the bed, saying, "Get ready for tomorrow." So in this way, we performed the 3-day marathon December 22, 23, and 24. No one had ever distributed as many books before in the history of our movement. A big day had been considered to be somewhere between 25 and 40 books, but we were distributing between 5,000 and 6,000 pieces of literature a day for a 3-day period. One temple had distributed almost 18,000 pieces of literature in just 3 days. At at this, Srila Prabhupada was in at this time Srila Prabhupada was in Bombay, where his attempt to secure the land in Juha had become entangling. The landlord was now refusing to sell the property and was thinking to evict the devotees. Even though Srila Prabhupada had already installed Radha Krishna deities on the land. Although these matters were causing Srila Prabhupada's anxiety, he continued his usual daily duties, taking his morning walk, lecturing in the evening, lecturing in the evening from the nectar of devotion, corresponding with the and achieving news from his centers around the world, even organizing a Bombay Pandal festival for January. When Prabhupada received news of the book distribution in Los Angeles and elsewhere in the United States, he was very pleased and amazed. Although the although involved with many affairs from throughout the world, he put them aside and relished the overwhelming victory of book distribution in America. Immediately he called in his personal secretary and dictated letters. My dear Rameshwar, I beg to acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated December 27, 1972, with great happiness. I have read your figures of amount of books sold during during 3-day period, December 22 to 24, 1972. It is scarcely believable that more than 17,000 books could have been sold by one temple in 3 days. That indicates to me that people are at last becoming little interested about this Krishna consciousness movement in your country. Otherwise, why they should buy one book, buy our books, but they can see that our boys and girls devotees are so much sincere to distribute the message of Krishna consciousness. They are at once struck by seeing them, and therefore they appreciate and purchase. This is unique in the world. So I am so much pleased upon all of the boys and girls in Los Angeles and all over the world who are understanding and appreciating this unique quality of our transcendental nature, literature, and voluntarily they are going out to distribute despite all circumstances of difficulty. By this effort alone, they are assured to go back to home, back to Godhead. The same day, Prabhupada dictated a letter to Karandara. I could never have thought it was possible to distribute so many of our literatures. Therefore, I can understand it is simply Krishna's blessing us for you are sincerely working on his behalf. Actually, that is the secret of my success. Not that personally I have done anything wonderful, but that because those who are helping me are sincere, they have done the work. That is the reason for our success all over the world, where others had failed. A little sincerity is very difficult thing in this age of hypocrisy and bluff. But I am so fortunate that Krishna has sent me all of them, you nice boys and girls who are sincerely working. Please convey to all, please convey to all of them my deepest appreciation. Srila Prabhupada acknowledging the Christian marathon and that that assuring the devotees that they would go back to Godhead, sent the book distribution movement flying into the new year with great momentum. Devotees continued to find new ways and places to distribute books. New records were constantly topping the old, and the devotees were making uh, still higher projections for the future. Rameshwara published in his Sanskrit February 1973 newsletter a letter from a college student who had read out of Srila Prabhupada's books. ISKCON's mail order office was receiving hundreds of such letters a month. Sir, a couple of weeks ago, devotees of Krishna from Denver, I understand where the Krishna from Denver, I understand were here at the University of Arkansas distributing literature. One young man approached me with a hard pitch for my purchasing a copy of Prabhupada translation of Bhagavad Gita. I was initially quite skeptical. So many people are getting rich from selling their versions of um, and told him to not bother me. I think I missed something here. What did I
The
miss?
versions of the answer.
Uh-huh. I was initially quite skeptical. So many people are getting rich from selling their versions of the answer and told him to not bother me. He insisted though, and I finally gave in. I have been reading the Gita, having not finished it yet, and have found it quite rewarding. My mind, uh, shaped in logic and empiricism, seems to find itself barely tasting the transcendental material in the book. I discuss it with others. I find myself remembering certain passages. It has genuinely stimulated my interest, to say the least, in a way that my quite extensive reading in Christianity, Zen Buddhism, the lower forms of yoga, etc., have never succeeded in doing. In short, I think I have finally found the beginning. Rameshwar went on to the boat. Um, sorry, Rameshwar went on to beat the drums of Sankirtan. Actually, properly, mm, mm, no one can properly measure the effect of our book distribution. If it was known how many books we distribute each month, we would be listed on every bestseller list in the country. For example, as many of you know, already the new Gita has outsold any other edition of Gita ever printed. The Macmillan Company has already sold ten of thousands of copies, while we have sold over 27,000 copies ourselves since they first appeared last August. With increased monies coming into the book fund, Srila Prabhupada had approved his trustees' plan to print larger quantities of books and store them in a warehouse, make them available to the temples for distribution throughout the year. Yet, keeping up with the temple's demands for books was still difficult, even with a warehouse. Small, easy to sell books like Beyond Birth and Death, On the Way to Krishna, Raja Vidya, and The Perfection of Yoga were printed in the tens of thousands. Distributors would go out carrying in their book bag a variety of books. Sri Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as an assortment of small books back to Godhead magazine and some inexpensive booklets like Krishna, the Reservoir of Pleasure, and on chanting Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yep, Hare Krishna.
Thank,
You're also
thank,
in India.
yes, Prabhuji, we are in same time zone.
Mm.
Thank you for, Prabhupada-līlāmṛta.
Yes.
I know it is too late, but I think book distribution, I will quickly narrate one thing, Prabhuji. Today also when we were going for some work with my father-in-law and Varsha. So we were driving on a very busy street. There is no ISKCON temple in Kota, but we were driving and in one street where it was extremely busy, but around 50-meter distance, I saw one brahmachari. It was extremely hot, around 35 degrees. He was selling books. And in that street, we cannot even imagine that there will be devotees. People are busy buying clothes, crackers, sweets, foods. But he recognized us because of Tilak. He smiled, but that joy was something else. Like, okay, I think in this chapter also somewhere, I think it comes, I think Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that out of thousands and thousands of people, only one will have that transcendental knowledge. So I was also thinking about the same thing when I was driving in the market, that from nowhere, I could see one devotee who was working really hard to distribute one Bhagavad Gita book in that atmosphere.
Very difficult, no? Yeah.
And coincidentally, today's chapter was also about book distribution, Prabhuji. So
and also we are in November. The next month is December, and book marathon is anyway coming. So all these things.
Yes,
I think
Prabhuji,
these are some blessings of Prabhupada. Yeah.
Yes,
In
Prabhuji.
disguise.
Yeah.
I think this is not one time it happened. We could see occasions where, Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
in my reciting, I don't know what sentences I missed or what words I replaced. So please read the original version of Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta.
No, Prabhuji, it was fine actually. Yeah, it was late for you also. Hope your father is also doing fine.
Yeah, he's fine. I still have 1 hour japa. That's why I closed it.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Then please carry on. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Prabhuji, for me, Prabhupada's message to Jayadrat Maharaj, I think that was very much touching, and also, we having an opportunity to be associated with such a Mahanubhava was very nice, Prabhuji. So,
Yeah. So which means, we are part of Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta.
yes, Prabhuji,
Huh?
totally, Prabhuji.
How is it? Because, Jayadrat Maharaj is part of it, and then we are part of his Leela in that way. We are part of this Leela, which is actually, if Kadam Kanan Maharaj in many occasions says that, Chaitanya Charitamrita is still happening. It's not like, okay, it is 500 years back and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established everything. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is not only that. Chaitanya Charitamrita is still happening. Why? Because his message, uh, his instruction is to bring the books to every corner. So which means because it didn't happen, as long as things are going on, are happening, it means that Leela is still going, which means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessings are really coming.
Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
That was very nice to hear, Prabhuji. 18,000
You are
books in 3
shifting.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, Diwali crackers, so selling them before Diwali day.
So in Christmas,
Yeah.
so in Christmas time, Prabhuji, so people, they are interested also, in different philosophy like that, no? So
No, not like that, but people have vacation, right?
yeah.
Because of that, if they have curiosity, they want to know, and the books are also like that, nice guard, and just like people might be hearing about Hinduism, like these, and people cannot go, right? You are in Germany, and when you want to go to meditation, will you simply go to the east? No, because you have your own office, you have your life and all those things. So you really wait that these things happen. Such a thing is available already in US. So when such institutions come, when such books are coming, mm, genuine people who are in Sattvagun, they want to benefit from them. So they will buy. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Okay. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji, for narration.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
and Prabhuji, tomorrow
Yeah.
class, do we have class tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have to go to a temple, which is
Okay.
like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour journey. And I don't know at what time, what signal will be there. I'm just thinking what would be the suitable time. Yeah. I think in the evening, not at. So let's see. Again, maybe something like this. Like, I don't know. Let's see what is possible.
Okay, I will post. So should I post no class message
No,
or?
no. Yeah, you can post no class to this time. I definitely know it's not going to happen.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
thinking
Prabhuji.
because my
Yes.
father's dialysis happens on Saturday. Um, so which happens like 8 o'clock. What is 8 o'clock in your place? 4 o'clock, no? So like something like 5 o'clock.
8:30.
3:30, Prabhuji.
Yeah, if something like 5 o'clock your time is also fine, I think. Then I can at least speak. Yeah. So let's see.
Have place to sit there because it's no, you don't.
Yeah, we'll find.
No, don't take
Yeah,
the.
we'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll look at it.
Yeah, take care because there are a lot of mosquitoes around.
Mm. Yeah, they'll also benefit from Bhagavatam. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for joining. I wish you a very successful weekend. And yeah, let's plan for December marathon. Na? Our marathon is 7 day Bhagavad Sapta. That is something what we can do. So we should look into that. Okay. Yeah. Then I'll stop here. Panchakalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gauranga. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.